Guys, welcome back to some more AFK Arena. Today we're back over on the YouTube account and we're going to be looking at and breaking down the guide from the AFK guys over with the Treasure Scramble. So very cool guide indeed. I want to run it through and kind of see where we're at right now. As you can see, we're preparing for battle. We're at the top 60%, but looking at the team that I'm using in my first formation, it is a combination of Ulna with Lucilla. Then we have Liberta in here with Thorin, and then we are also running Nox in here with our Slumbering Seal. Now, when it comes to this specific debuff, this is huge based on the heroes, the skills, the abilities, everything in there. That is why this game mode in the Treasure Scramble, this debuff specifically, is a little bit of a different team, and it works incredibly well with the comps that we see here. And the second one we're running is, of course, the Awakened version of Chimera, and then we do have Iran in here because I don't have Skyland. Now, we're also running Zora in here, so she is making a presence within AFK Arena, starting to see her within the Treasure Scramble. We do have Lan in here, even though I don't think she's built up high enough to be super competitive, but we also do have Demia in here to round out the heroes that we're using within this formation. So I'm going to save this. This is going to be the first build. Now let's hop over, look at the guide, see exactly what it looks like and what they are recommended in breaking down in this version. So right here, again, big shout out to the AFK guys, January 2025. This is, of course, day one. This is New Year's Day, so happy New Year to you guys. So let's go ahead and break this down. Now, the first one we look at is Team 1, which is the Seal. So this does use Eugene with the SP effect. You can see the original or OG version of Taylene in there. We have Silas. We have, of course, the Awakened version of Thorin. And this runs Randy in here with the Slumbering Seal. Now, with these heroes specifically, this is about the seal and the damage the seal can put out. And these heroes are incredibly difficult to kill. And if you do kill them, they don't stay dead very long. Even thinking of Thorin, this allows the seal to do a lot of damage. Now, you'll notice right down here, right off the bat, that this has been updated, and you can even see Shaltir is in here. All of these heroes are updated, and they update this all the time, which is very, very cool to see that we do have the option. Now, one thing to note in here, right here is the 2-team version. This is the team that I'm running, and you'll notice over here the 2-team version here as well. This is based off the starting. Now, when you start, you only have 2 teams. Then it goes to 3, 4, 5, so on and so forth, until you get to the point of having all of the teams unlocked. And this is where it is imperative that when you start off and you start this off right, it does make a really big difference. Now, of course, guys, when it comes to substitutions, you can see that they are kind of equivalent. A lot of different heroes in here, even looking at Kanisa and Rook, looking at Hilda and Matria. A lot of different heroes in here can do incredibly well. For a lot of players, probably don't have the original version of Taylene built. You can drop Ulna in there like I did, but now some of these heroes do overlap a bunch of different formations, so you have to be aware of that when you're building these out. When you start getting to multitude teams, might be a little bit more difficult to actually build them out or have all the heroes that are available because there are so many variations. But I do love the Seal team. It is super effective. Again, in the ice mode, in this Treasure Scramble mode, it is super effective. Second team, we get into the Awakened version of Chimera. Now, of course, utility with Chimera still very, very high. We also do have Athalia in here, and we do have Gavis in here as well. You can see Malkry is in here. Now, overall, most players, short of being heavy PvP players, do not have Malkry. Tarnos is another one, as you can see, a substitution. Tarnos, however, again, is a very old school but very heavy PvP character, meaning that a lot of players didn't build him long ago. I even didn't build him until we swapped him. But overall, Lady Simona, you should have, even looking at Lavatoon, even thinking of Palmer, Rimuru, a couple of those you should absolutely have built, as they are primary, as they are best in slot for a lot of different formations. Now, also note, though, right here in the bottom, this is very, very important to note because a lot of players do not have Skyland. And of course, you can see the substitutions that we have right here. I substituted in that Awakened version of Iran. If you don't have Lan, if you don't have Zora, you can actually substitute in. We have Sophia, we have Shuna, we do have Athalia, and then we do have Laika down here. And then, of course, Shuna, we have Aurelia, and then we do have Gavis down here as well. Making sure you know the substitutions. If there are specific heroes that you know you don't have access to that you're not going to be using, make sure you are doing the proper substitutions in here. So Team 3 is the Awakened version of Iran. Again, you can see Iran does pop in this formation. If you don't have Iran, Skyland would be, which again, most players that I know, nobody has Skyland build just because of the sheer cost. But then when you start looking at Misha, there are a few substitutions. The Awakened version of Laika, that is one that is very hard to substitute just because of the skills and abilities she does possess. And then, of course, the 3-team variation does change a little bit, adding Misha in there and also adding Shuna in there. But you can see there are also a lot of substitutions when it comes to land in the Awakened version of Euron. Now, you'll also notice this is our brand new beast. So if you do have that beast resonance 18, this is where you're going to be using the beast. Now, overall, we knew right off the bat, looking at this new beast that was introduced, it is going to be super, super heavy PvP. I cannot stress it enough when it comes to this beast. PvP is going to be the point where this this beast absolutely shines, and it can be shown that we are already seeing that. Now, of course, the dimensionals, that's right. Sheltier is already being used within dimensional formations, and of course, Albedo, which is the buffed version of Albedo. So this gives rebirth to the Awakened team, or excuse me, the dimensional teams that we are seeing. Now, of course, when you think of the time frame when a lot of heroes weren't released, as we continue to get more dimensional heroes, I haven't seen, and I don't see Ainz in this one as of yet. Might be in another level, but overall, it seems like Rem still has a crazy amount of burst damage. We have Shuna in here as a solid buffer. Crowd control is out here. We also do have the Panda Dumpty out here doing incredibly well. Now, you'll also notice substitute in here. We do have Rimuru. I would probably try to keep it to the dims, just because I feel like they're not going to be used a lot of other places. But even looking in here, the buffs that Albedo is bringing, the cheat death that is in here, also looking at Sheltier with the cheat death, going to work incredibly well within these formations. Now, as we go to this bottom row, this gets into Matria. This is another one where it is kind of a cheese comp that works super, super well. Kanisa and Rook is in here with Matria. Then we have Nox. So that is going to give you, and if you remember the SP effect that Matria does possess, this is going to give you the triple advantage when it comes to the Hippo heroes. Then we have Hilduin in here more as a support hero than a mage. Then we have Meleon in here. Meleon is, of course, going to provide some crowd control, but is also going to buff Hilduin in here. And then you have your Shroom Spooter as your beast in here. Shroom Spooter, of course, is going to allow the ability to taunt, meaning these heroes are a lot less likely to die, allowing them to really maximize the damage in the Matria comp. And it does work very well, again, in this specific game mode. Now, of course, number 6, we have the Luciberta. I like the Luciberta, so does Lucretia and Liberta together. These, of course, Skyland is in here. PvP-wise, Skyland is an absolute monster. But when you drop him out, you can see our substitutions are right down here in the bottom, as well as their SP effect. Now, one thing to note, with the Awakened version of Lucius, he does require a very big build to do incredibly well. If you don't have the high signature item on him, the plus 40, if you don't have the furniture on there, if you don't have the engraving, he is not going to perform where you need to, even in the PvP aspect, meaning you could sub in another one like Jerome in there. You could also sub in another one. And of course, your damage dealer at that point would become Skyland, which honestly, for that one, I would probably put like an Athalia in there if you don't have Skyland. If you do have Skyland, the damage is going to go through the roof. Treat Spectator is here as well, making it a very viable formation. Then we look at the Awakened version of Sophia. Now this one, again, runs Zora right here. You can also see with the shielding aspect that we have, but Entendre is in here, and there is crowd control from the Ice Crown and also Damia. So the problem we see with this formation specifically is, of course, with the Awakened version of Entendre. If you're fighting a burst team, she is going to die super fast. She doesn't have the survivability, but that is where the Damia comes in with that cheat death, and also the Awakened version of Sophia comes in with the SP effect and also the shielding aspect, trying to do the survivability. And of course, Naruko is a solid tank with Nadia, but overall trying to keep these heroes together and trying to keep the Awakened version of Entendre. Once she ults, once she gets rolling, it really seems it's really tough to kill her, but you do have to get her. Now, you'll also notice that Goran and a couple other newer heroes are kind of making a version in here, and there is another 2-team version down here that does rock the Awakened version of Entendre, but overall, again, not super effective. Now, there's a bonus team in here, which is the Awakened version of Athalia. Now, you'll notice that this is just really buffing up the Awakened version of Athalia, providing the damage. Now, you can see we also do have Lucius in here. There's a few substitutions, even looking at Lucilla and looking at Albedo. But again, overall, it seems like the bonus team is not the priority that you really want to do. But overall, guys, the guide always very solid. Even when I follow this and when I followed it in the past, it has done very well for my numbers within the Treasure Scramble itself. And the Treasure Scramble, of course, The higher that you score in here, the better you are going to be getting and the more loot you're going to be getting. So guys, that's going to do it for today's video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. I'll put the link to the guide down below. And as always, thank you guys for watching.